As a factual matter, there's not much question that the Obama administration spied on the Donald Trump for President campaign. A government informant on the government payroll approached at least 3 members of the Trump campaign, secretly gathered information from them, and secretly passed it back to government handlers in the Obama administration. Now, you can claim all of that was justified. You can't claim it wasn't spying, because it was spying. Yet Democrats are continuing to insult your intelligence by pretending that it wasn't somehow. Here was Congressman Eric Swalwell on this program just last night. Tell me why spying on the Trump campaign was not spying. Just speak slowly so I can understand.
It was not spying what they were doing.
So what was it?
They were conducting a criminal investigation.
But it's not just Democrats who are lying about this. Obedient servants of the national security state from both parties are participating in this cover-up. The media, mindless and lemming-like as always, is of course dutifully backing them up. Here's a brief selection.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
There's no evidence that there was a spy put into the Trump campaign.
All the other people who've seen the intelligence in your own party are saying there's just no there. I'm wondering what it will take for you, Congressman Zeldin, to say he's full of it.
So let's try this again. In the service of clear language, Richard Painter is a professor at the University of Minnesota. He worked as an ethics lawyer in the Bush administration. He's now seeking the Democratic nomination for Senate in the state of Minnesota. Richard Painter joins us tonight. Richard, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
So we know that an FBI and CIA informant on the government payroll, making quite a bit of money from the government, made contact with at least 3 members of the Trump campaign during the campaign, gathered information from them surreptitiously and passed it back to the Obama administration. Now, you can argue that was justified, and I'm open-minded, but that's spying. Tell me why it's not spying.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives has already talked about this, Paul Ryan, Representative Gowdy, Richard Burr over in the United States Senate Intelligence Committee. And there is a consensus among Republicans and Democrats because they have seen the relevant information, including a lot of them have seen the classified information, which I have not seen, and neither has Fox News seen the classified information. And I don't know if this is the news channel or the fiction channel, but we need to focus on the facts here.
Okay,
and the people who've seen the facts,
down,
including the Republican leaders.
Wait, hold on. Slow down. If you would, please stop with the invective and explain to me, again slowly, why, given the fact set that I just presented to you, and I think we can agree that that's true, that that's not spying.
No, I don't think we can.
Under what circumstances would that not be spying?
Well, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives has looked at the facts, and Richard Burr over in the Senate in the Intelligence Committee has looked at the facts, including the classified information, which I have not seen, and Fox News has not seen.
So what do you think? Hold on. Okay, you've already said that. You've already said that. Hold on. I understand it. You're repeating yourself, and you've just confirmed that whatever Republican leaders say you believe. So it's a little odd you're running as a Democrat. Another conversation. But suggest to me what they might know. Hold on. Suggest to me what they might know. Just speculate, if you would. Just go crazy as a former law professor. What they might have seen that would lead them to believe the facts that I just laid out, that are not contested, do not amount to spying. Not whether justified or not, but why is that not spying?
Any Republican who saw a shred of evidence that the Obama administration was spying on the Trump campaign would clearly have said it was spying, and yet the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives.
That's really your explanation, that some politician says it's not spying, therefore it's not? I'm asking you, hold on, I'm asking you as an office, someone running for office, use your brain. Tell me why, given what I just said, I'm going to ask you for the 3rd time, it's really simple. I'm not asking whether it was justified or not, it may have been. But why is that not spying? Secretly gathering information on somebody and passing it back to your handlers in the administration is spying, but you won't concede it is because Trey Gowdy says it's not, but you're a Democrat? I'm totally confused by this conversation.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. The FBI
then why do you keep citing Republicans?
A job to do. has nothing to do with it. The FBI has a job to do. What the Russians are trying to destabilize our country, as they have tried to destabilize Western democracies for 100 years. Our FBI has an obligation to find out who is interfacing with the Russians and to get the FISA warrants from a judge and make sure and follow those people. We are not going to allow the Russians to engage in this kind of activity in the United States.
I get it. Was there a FISA warrant in this specific case? Because the first contact between the FBI and CIA informant and a member of the Trump campaign took place in July of 2016. That was 3 weeks before the counterintelligence investigation started. So are you saying, do you have information that there was a FISA warrant for that?
No, I'm not saying that. There is no evidence that the FBI acted inappropriately. The members of the United States Senate and House who have looked at the classified information, which I have not seen and you have not seen, have concluded that the FBI acted appropriately. Well, you can continue to make up stories about Spygate as a way to deflect from the Mueller investigation.
Wait, slow down, and stop with the insults. I'm not making up stories. I'm stating known facts, which you are not contradicting. Nobody is contradicting. We know this to be true, unless we're wrong, in which case tell me how I'm wrong, but you haven't. And I'm asking you, given that happened, why are we sure that that was justified if it took place before the counterintelligence investigation opened? You suggested it was a FISA warrant that made that legal. Do you have knowledge of that, or are you just making that up?
No. I am saying that members of the House and Senate who have looked at the classified information, which I have not seen, Democrats and Republicans have concluded that the FBI acted appropriately in countering a foreign intelligence operation inside the United States aimed at destabilizing our country.
And I'm saying I would like to know more, and you're attacking me for wanting to know more. Would you like to know, for example, who authorized this? On what legal basis did this take place? Are these interesting questions to you, or do you think it's unpatriotic to ask them? Because that's a suggestion from what you're saying.
I want to ask questions. I want to know why the FBI didn't uncover what the Trump campaign was doing in 2016, including the Trump Tower meeting, and blow the cover on that. So we would have known about that before the election. We should have known about that, and the FBI did not disclose what they knew about the Russians and the Trump campaign colluding. We should have been told, and that's just wrong. And the FBI director
I don't even understand what you're saying. I haven't understood a single exchange of this entire conversation. Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Good luck with your Senate race. I hope voters can understand what you're saying, because I can't. Nice to see you. Andrew McCarthy is an former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, and he joins us tonight. Andy, thanks a lot for coming on.
My pleasure.
So the semantic smokescreen, tiresome, and I think it is a semantic smokescreen. If you disagree, please tell me. But the deeper question is, what was the legal basis for this? What was the authorization? You just heard Richard Painter suggest there was a FISA warrant for this. Is that true? Could it be true?
You're quite right, Tucker. It is a semantic difference. I mean, even Chairman Gowdy, who objected to the word spy, admits there was an informant, right? So on one side of this, we have people who are engaged in hyperbole. The other side, they're engaged in euphemism. But we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about a covert operative who was sent in to get information. You don't have to have a FISA surveillance warrant to use an informant. In fact, it's a pretty low standard. We know there was some FISA surveillance. There may have been more than we know about, but that began in October, and it went basically for most of the next year, well into the Trump campaign. They were using an informant or a spy, whatever you want to call it, at least one, at least beginning in July. And I think the issue here is why they were doing it, not what you call it. And the most objectionable thing I think I heard from your last guest is he kept saying the people who've looked at the classified information, in point of fact, they haven't seen the classified information. A big part of what this whole debate has been about has been the fact that they've been asking for months and months from the Justice Department and the FBI to see the classified information, and they've been stonewalled.
Yeah, I mean, that conversation honestly was demented. I'm still confused by it. But the core questions remain. And tell me if I got the timeline wrong. Apparently, the conversations between this informant and members of the Trump campaign began before the counterintelligence investigation into Trump campaign ties to Russia began. So on what basis was this authorized?
Well, the investigation is formally opened, we think, around July the 31st. Now, they are allowed to do preliminary steps before they open a full throttle investigation, and presumably they used that authorization or that authority that they have to use informants. But, you know, we're speculating, and we shouldn't be speculating at this point. We should actually know the answers. We should be now, at this point, able to say exactly when this investigation opened, not on paper, but when it really opened, when they started to do stuff, when they started to monitor people. That's what we need to
just
know.
in one sentence, because we're out of time, but just fact check it for me. You'd need a pretty high bar to do this in administration to a rival campaign, right?
You sure should. You sure should.
Yeah, you sure should. That's my instinct. Andrew McCarthy, thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
Well, the creepy porn lawyer is at it again. This time he is attacking Rudy Giuliani for stating that there might be a difference between a porn star and a church choir director. That distinction is no longer allowed. Does Mark Stein still recognize it? Well, ask him next.